That was the latest from Sarah Hobbs. Roof over my head on Maverick 100.9. The queen, the goddess, the kindest human I know is here
Well,
with me now, Miss Sarah Hobbs. How are you?
well, much better now that I'm seeing your pretty sweet little face.
And we didn't see
And
each other that long ago, so we've actually got to hug recently, which was
I
even
know.
better.
I know. I really love it a whole lot. Like, I want to make it like a monthly thing. If we could do that, that'd be super great.
And I know you and I talk about that every single gosh darn time we get on
We
for,
really
well,
do.
we talk for interviews and then we go forever without talking. And I know I'm the worst friend in the world, but I still love
No.
you.
Well, and here's the thing though. Like, I feel like my low maintenance friends are some of my best friends because
Yes.
those friends that you can be like, hey, you know what? I love you. You know, I love you. I
Hmm.
know you're busy. You know, I'm busy. But here, we got this amount of time. Let's catch up in life. All the things. I trust you with everything. Let's talk about it all and then carry on.
Yeah. And that's literally how we do this.
And I love it. It's the best.
Oh man. So I have to ask, we're going to talk about this new single that you've released, Roof Over My
Yes.
Head.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me if I am overstepping, going too far, asking too much of you. How deep can we go today?
I'm down for whatever.
All right. Cuz I listened very
Mm-hmm.
closely to Roof Over My Head.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you personally. To those who don't know, I know a lot about your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it this was a healing project for you.
You couldn't have said it better. That's
Okay.
exactly right. It was a healing and the closing of a chapter.
And did you write this on your own? Because it's that sounds just 100%. It's your story.
It is my exact story, exact relationship, and everything around it. But wrote it with Bree Bagwell and
Oh,
Miss Helene Cronin, which both are
wow.
obviously incredible songwriters. But a few years ago, I was still within that relationship,
Hmm.
and it was one of those things where I was like, we'd had another big fight, and obviously, like, it was a long time. It was a lot of years, and
Yes.
granted, it's not all bad, or you wouldn't stay that
Hmm.
long. There's good parts, and I won't fault it for that, but it just didn't work, and it was a toxic thing for us, and is what it is. I've got no ill intention to anybody.
Yeah.
This class, but at that point in time, like, we had just had a big fight about something, and I was cleaning a closet out. And I was crying, and I was like, man, I'm just so tired of him holding this roof over my head
Yeah.
because it was, oh, well, this is my house. I can talk to you how I want to. I can
Yeah.
treat you how I want to. If you don't like it, pack your stuff and leave. Like, this is my house. I'm going to do what I want to in mine. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so 7 years mean nothing. And run this mofo like a home. So
I'm giving you wifey without the ring. Like,
that's exactly right. That is exactly right. But I took that hook, and about a year later or so, I talked to Bree about it, and I was like, girl, I've got this hook that I think is going to be something special.
mhm.
And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't think that's been done. And I was like, it hasn't. Like, I've been checking, and I don't know how it hasn't, but it hasn't. And anyway, she was like, well, you know, I'm here for this song. And I was like, well, I want you to be a part of it because I know you've dealt with some things like that in the past as well. And she was like, absolutely, I
Well,
want to
not
be.
to
So
mention she was probably by your side during all of your ups and downs.
she knew the ins and outs of all of it.
Yeah.
So she felt it from a personal level of, her being in situations, and then from a best friend level of watching your person go through things. So it was her idea to bring in Helene Cronin on it. And she was like, I just think Helene would be just such a great writer on this. And she was so incredibly right. Like, Helene is insanely amazing. Like, she's such a great writer. Anyway, we got to go to this writer's retreat,
Hmm.
and we were able to all three sit down and go, okay, this is the song we want to work on. Like, we have the opportunity right now. Let's do it. And a few hours later, we sit outside. It was a beautiful day. I told basically the story of the relationship to Helene.
Mhm.
and, just different parts of it that could be written into the song. And a few hours later, like, we finished it and we were like, this is something special. This is a pretty big song.
Well, I
Because,
agree with you. I think it's special. And another point that you had just touched on, you said you looked and looked and looked. How has nobody told this story before? Because this is a common occurrence.
oh,
Your long relationship starts to take a shift, and that person that you love dearly starts making a shift. And it even becomes dangerous at a point to where you are receiving threats like a roof over your head. And that's a really tough subject to talk about. I understand, but it's also a very common subject that we should be talking about. And
absolutely.
it should be brought to the forefront. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. And, one thing that I always like with that song, I was like, I don't want this to be focused on, oh, this just happens to girls, because it happens to guys too. Like,
It does.
it's both. It's 100% both. And, it's like I said, it's a dang special song because the amount of people that reached out, like whenever I had like made it, whenever it went out to like distribution and everything.
Yeah.
And people could download it and all that. Oh my gosh. Just the messages that I was getting, like from Facebook, from text, from email, from this and that. I was just like, oh my gosh, these people are receiving it exactly how I wanted them to. Like, oh my gosh, girl, you don't understand. Like, I'm going through this exactly, or my sister is, or my brother is, or my best friend is, or, whoever it is. But they were like, this song just literally brings us to tears because that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yay.
Well, I mean, good things come when you tell the truth, don't they?
They really do.
And that song is so raw and honest. It's incredible. I don't really have that many words for it, to be honest with you. So just all around applause to you, Miss Sarah Hobbs. You are so incredible. And
well, I appreciate that more than you know.
Well, and of course, we can, I know that was a bit of a downer subject, if you will, but it is a necessary one. And I also want to note that I knew Sarah during that time, and I've known her ever since. And it seems like every time we get to catch up, that healing in you goes a little bit further and a little bit further. You have found yourself in a very positive outlet in life right now.
I think so too. And I appreciate you saying that. Like, I'm genuinely so happy in all lanes of life right now. So
like, you look happy, you act happy, you look different. And it's such a beautiful glow about you. And I'm so happy, especially for, say, your fans, people that just love you for your music. They can now really see the real you. There's no hiding anymore.
No, I 100% agree with that. And, that's something that's so important to me because we're very much the same on, like, when we care about our people, like, we care hard about our people. And, fans are part of the thing that keep you and I both working.
Yeah.
And they're kind of everything. And I want that appreciation level to always, like, be very forefront. And it's still, like, when people are like, oh my gosh, can I take a picture with you? I'm like,
with me?
A picture with you? What are you talking about? Let me take a picture with you. That's so nice.
We are so on the same level there. But I always tell people, like, I'm very open and honest with my listeners. Because they're not just listeners. I meet these people out in my community every day.
Absolutely.
I try to hug them any chance that I get. I love and appreciate Aggie Land with all of my heart. And I don't ever want them to come in contact with me in person and think, oh, she is so different than who I am on the radio. I will never be different. And I can always promise you that.
I've seen you act one way, and that is true, Corliss. I couldn't love it more. You're always a pleasure to be around, and I just it makes me so happy. Like,
this is the Sarah and Corliss love fest going on here, but we do love each other. I mean, this is our family, man. This is what we all do this for, and this is why we play Texas country instead of anything else on this radio station.
Exactly right.
Because this is the only place where you're going to get that music that you can actually literally reach out and touch. You can hug these people. You can relate to these people. These are our people.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And you saying that like makes me think of another point, like, going and seeing acoustic shows and things like that. Like, I love those shows. I love to attend those shows and I love to do those shows because it's important for me to have that like relationship with your fans that are right there. And I want them to leave going, you know what? I think I found a friend in her.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I prefer to go to acoustic shows. And that's why I prefer to do interviews. How do you get to know what you're listening to? I think you develop a much stronger love for music when you actually know the music front and back, whether it's the writer, the singer, the musician. It's better. So and let it give you all that warmth, all the good things.
That's exactly right. And like on my acoustic shows, like I want them to see, of course I want them to hear the music, but you can hear the music anytime. Like I want them to see personality. I want to get up there and be just authentically corny Sarah, and that's okay. Like I'll pop off.
Fine by me.
I will think I'm hilarious. And then if you want to laugh with me, that's super great. If you don't, that's fine.
Well, speaking of those types of shows, you've got a show coming up with you, Bree Bagwell, Adrienne Johnston, and Jade Marie Patek. I don't know if you could name 4 women that I love more than that. And it's all of you on one stage together?
Yes. It is literally going to be song swap and story swapping and giggling and wine, and it's just going to be a great time.
And it's a hometown show for you.
It's back home in Marshall, Texas, and it's going to be at the Memorial City Hall. It's supposed to be an absolutely beautiful place. They've redone a lot of the inside, so I'm so excited to get to see that in person because I haven't got to go in since they've redone a lot of it. But of course, all my family, all my friends from back home are going to be there. So it's so exciting.
And on the stage with you. That's the coolest thing. Like, talk about a show that's going to be filled with so much love. It's going to be that one. Gosh. And I hate to tell y'all this, but I am missing that show. And it is literally physically hurting me. So if anybody else could just go and show their support on my behalf, that would be super rad of you. And I have already requested that the ladies make a tour out of this. So
I completely concur.
I've done my part here.
Hey, I am going to help spread the word on that and say, hey, look, we're wanted in this city, in this city, in this city, and we got people to see.
Yeah.
We got news to spread. And that's the part about like this, these shows, like those girls are like my sisters. Like we are legit all such good, close friends. So, I know it's going to be when we do get around to singing a song when we're not thinking we're the funniest thing in the world.
Yes, which you are. That is validated.
True. But, when one of us sings a song, like we all will be hanging on every word.
Yeah.
Our girls singing. And it's just, to me, that's part of the coolest part because, she finishes up a song and you're just like, I don't even know what I'm going to sing next because it was so beautiful and you're so great. And I just love you so much. And, and just being each other's big cheerleaders is just, I think that's just the coolest.
People never understand the fangirl in me, especially after 15 years in radio. They don't understand how I still get nervous talking to Bree Bagwell. And I genuinely do. And I get nervous talking to you. I get nervous talking to Jade Marie Patek, Adrienne. Like,
dude,
I really do because I am such a big fan. I mean, let's amplify the magnitude of all of this. Like, everybody kind of forgets I moved my life from Kansas to Texas because of a few songs.
I couldn't love it more.
And I could still tell you what those songs were to this day. And I know those artists personally now, and it's freaking weird. It's so weird.
So much. Now I have to know the songs.
Turn That Crown Upside Down.
Mm.
And I just spoke to Kyle Park this morning, and we caught up on kids and husbands and wives. And I'm like, this is unreal. It's unreal.
Little family now.
Call Me. Bree Bagwell. I specifically remember that was on my journey to Texas. So that was while I was in Stillwater. And that year, Bree Bagwell was the only female to have a #1 single on the Texas radio charts. That would have been 2000. Oh, let me get it right. 2017.
Okay. That's amazing.
Then I got to meet her after that #1 single, and she was so nice to me and just amazing. And then I moved to Texas, and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, why do you remember me?" Like,
I love it so much. It's so cute.
It is okay to be a fan of your friends. If you can,
yes,
and that goes all the way. Like, not all of my friends are musicians. I have friends that own boutiques, that own real estate companies, that work for child protective services and human trafficking. I support all of my girlfriends, and I will forever be their biggest fans. So
I love that.
That's kind of what you were describing there in getting to watch each other sing songs is we're still fans.
Absolutely. And that's, the coolest part of this job is that we are still just such big fans of music. Like people are, have said before, like, oh, I bet when you're not playing, like you definitely don't want to go see music. I'm like, what? I'm almost a huge fan of music. Like I've been going to concerts since I was like tiny wee Sarah.
Yeah. How do you think we got here in the first place?
That's exactly
right. You think we'd be out here making no money? Like,
no, I'm trying to go. Exactly. I love my job. I love my boss.
Well, I want y'all once again, check out that show and get any and all new music from Sarah Hobbs. Always be following her tour dates, everything, because she is one of the greatest humans that I know. Sarah, we love you so much. And I just got to thank you for coming and having a little bit of girl coffee time here on Maverick.
I am so here for it. I appreciate so much. Appreciate you. You are so loved by all of us.